Hi, Math 10. Sorry that I'm not there with you guys today. We're going to do a lesson via video because I didn't want to completely abandon you. So go ahead and find the notes. You should have picked those up when you walked in. Let's go ahead and look at them. I know the notes say skill 20 and skill 21, but as I was working through this lesson, I realized that it was just way too much content. So I'm going to change it a little bit for us today. Today we're just going to do skill 20, so we're just going to do surface area. Now I probably shouldn't say just. Surface area is a challenging. It has many different parts. It has a lot of different formulas. So there's a fair bit of things that you need to keep track of. But hopefully, as you go through these notes, you will manage to do that. So again, we're just going to go through skill 20, and then we'll go ahead and stop, and then give you guys some time to work. So let's get started. Surface area is the sum of the flat surfaces or curved surfaces of the figure. So when you're looking to find surface area, this is what I would like you to think about. Imagine you being in a room, just a normal room with one door. If you're trying to find surface area, what you're trying to do is you're trying to figure out exactly how much paint you would need to paint all the walls and the ceiling and the floor. How much surface does your object have? How much would it take to completely cover something? You're not filling up the inside, it's just a covering over the outside or the exterior. Okay, so the first example, the first formula we have is surface area for an object with two bases. So let's talk about that and brainstorm. You guys should know this from last week. What are the objects that have two bases? I hope you are saying something about prisms, because those have two bases. And I hope that you were also talking about cylinders, because those also have two bases. So here's your formula. S equals 2B plus PH. What I want you to notice is that the B and the P are capital. Because those are capitalized, that means that you have to do some more work. The capital B stands for the area of the base, and the capital P stands for the perimeter of the base. And then the H is the height of the base. Again, I realize that it's a little bit of a complex formula. I'm not denying that, but we'll work through it. Let's go ahead and look at the first example. Let's look at this one over here. 7, 7, 7, 7, and then you've got this little 5 over there. Notice you have those marked as being 90 degrees. So if you are looking at the bottom or you're looking at the top, you should be able to identify that that shape is a square, and then the 5 is going from top to bottom. So if there's a square on the bottom, and you have a top and bottom, you should be able to identify that as a square prism. A square prism. So I would find it helpful for you to, to label it a square prism. The base is a square and it's a prism. So if we go to our formula, it is 2 times the area of the base. How do you find the area of a square? I hope you are saying length times width. So your formula is going to be 2 times your length and your width. What's your length and width of your square? 7 times 7. The perimeter of a square, you're going to have all the sides. Are all the sides the same? Yeah, so it's going to be 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 times the height. The height is from top to bottom, from base to base, so that's 5. So if you look, your formula should be 2 times the area of the base, 7 times 7, plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7, that's the perimeter of the base, times the height. You can probably, depending on whether you know how to work your calculator right, plug the whole thing in and get an answer, but I do think it might be helpful for you to show some work. So 2 times 49, 28 times 5, so 98 plus 140. Your final answer for your surface area is 238 yards squared. 238 yards squared. Okay? Let's go to the other shape that's next to it, the next object. Notice as you look around the top and you look around the bottom, I want you to notice that those are triangles. So again, you would call this a triangular prism. Surface area, 2 times the area of the base plus the perimeter times the height. So 1/2 base times height. I don't know if you know that. You might want to make a note to yourself. How do you find the area of a triangle? Probably write it in right here. Area is equal to, for a triangle, 1/2 base times height. Base and height are going to be your legs, or base and height need to form a 90-degree angle. So when you're looking at this base, the triangle has a base of 6 and a height of 8. That is your triangle, remember. So 2 times 1/2 times 8 times 6 plus perimeter, 8 plus 6 plus 10. Notice this 10 is the hypotenuse, or the other side of your triangle. So 8, 6, and 10. That's the perimeter. And then this 4 is the height of your entire shape, the entire three-dimensional object. So 4 is the height from base to base, or 4 is the distance from triangle to triangle. I understand that that's a little bit hard. So you have a height of your triangle, which is 8, but you also have a height of your three-dimensional object, which is 4. So it's a little bit confusing because you have two heights that you're talking about. So you've got 2. 1/2 times 8 times 6, that's the area of your base. Perimeter, height of your object. 2 times 24, 24 times 4, 48, and 96 get you 144 kilometers squared. That's how you do the work for a prism. Okay? Go to your next page. How do you do it for a cylinder? Well, let's talk about this. If our formula was 2b plus pH, P, think about the bases for a cylinder. The bases for a cylinder are circles. Do circles actually have perimeter? I hope you're saying no. Circles actually have a perimeter that's called a circumference. I encourage you to write this down. Circumference is 2 pi r, or pi times d. I don't know if you remember your circle formulas, but that is for the circumference of a circle. And then you should also write down area formula for a circle. The area for a circle is pi r squared. Area is equal to pi r squared. So 2b plus pH becomes 2b plus ch, because c is circumference. And even easier than that, you can change the formula to be this: 2 pi radius squared plus 2 pi RH. You don't actually have to do any extra calculations. The r's stand for radius and the h stands for height. So to do a cylinder, you just need two things: radius and height, which should be pretty easy. All right, so let's look at those. Cylinder. If you look at this first one, you have a height of 7 and a radius of 4. If you follow along with this formula, you'd get 2 pi 4 squared, that's your radius, 2 pi 4 is your radius, and 7 is your height. Plug that all into the calculator, and you would get 276.4. 276.4. Go to the next cylinder over here. The one thing you need to do is notice that 14 is not a radius. 14 is your diameter. So you need to know that your radius is cut in half. So your radius is just a 7. So 2 pi radius squared, so 7 squared, plus 2 pi radius times height. So 7 times 8. 2 pi 7 squared plus 2 pi 7 times 8. Again, that ends up being calculator work. Just plug it in. 659.7 kilometers squared. Okay, so that's everything you have for 2 bases. Now we need to move into 1 base. Okay, 1 base, again, I hope you are thinking are pyramids and cones, because that is what we're working with. So if you're looking at surface area for cones and pyramids, surface area is equal to base plus 1/2 PL. The new part is this L, and that is your slant height. So if you look at this one, your slant height, to define it, is laying along the side or laying on the flat edge of your three-dimensional figure. Your slant height is actually right on the pyramid or right on the cone. Okay? So we've got some work that we can do. This first one is a square pyramid. Again, your base is a square. So when you're going to do your work, the area of your base is 4 times 4 plus 1/2 times your perimeter times your slant height. Okay? It's a square, so 4 times 4. Add of the 4 sides, so 1/2 times 16 times 6.3. Again, it's just calculator work, plugging it in, 66.4 inches squared. The next one is a triangular pyramid. So if you look at your triangular pyramid, this one's a little bit more work because it's a triangle. How do you find the area of a triangle? 1/2 base times height. Your base has to form a 90-degree angle, so your base and your height. Your base is 9 centimeters, and perpendicular, or 90 degrees to that, is 7.8. So 1/2 times 9 times 7.8. 1/2, and then this is your perimeter. So notice it's 9, 9, and 9. It's an equilateral triangle. So 9, 9, 9. And then 11.3 is your slant height. It's laying on the side of your three-dimensional figure. Plug it all in. 187.65 centimeters squared. 187.65 centimeters squared. Surface area for the cone, again, should become easy because all you need are your radius and your slant height. You just need your radius and your slant height. So pi, radius squared, radius and slant height. 1,756.1. The second one just has that one little trick in it. 16 is your diameter. So when you're doing your work, you should be using half of that. You should be using 8. So pi 8 squared plus pi times 8 times 23.4. 789.2. Let me give you fair warning. When you are working on your homework today, well, no, it'll be after your test. When you get the Skill 20 homework, some of them might require to use Pythagorean theorem to find some of your missing sides. I'll try to draw your attention to that later on. The homework that you're working on today is going to be the review for your test. You're going to be taking a test either Friday or Monday. And so your homework is your assessment review, and you should spend the rest of your class period working on your test review. Thanks for paying attention, and I will hopefully see you soon.